in your office on a daily basis, plus minus, kuna kuwaga watu wagapi wanakuja kukuona? Plus minus.
Ya Nairobi ni hard. Na Nairobi si wengi. Lakini Oshago kwanza kuna wale wanaanzia home. Morning, ngwari. Watu wamekaa. So wale wa home kwanza wasort. Waambie ofisi wanakwambia hapana. It's a culture I think we need to change. I don't know if it's the same in Central, but in Luyaland I can tell you. Home kwanza wase wanzia home.
Na kila mtu anataka kitu, anataka tao or whatever it is.
Sasa wacha tao wananitanga bazenga. Bazuna tuachaje.
Hiyo design. Unajua ni kwa nini? Juu MPs wetu na leaders wetu wanapewa safe fish instead ya kuonesha
how to fish.
Unajua kuonesha mzee design ya kwenda kuvua samaki. Hana time ya kukuja kula samaki yako. Yeye ameenda kucast their net wide atafute kiruma yake. Lakini hii handouts even ndio nyi waga mna gain popularity.
Unajua pia inategemea na background yako. Nilikwambia mimi humanitarian. Nilipiga 22 years na UN in different countries. Holding different positions
around the world.
And we used to have something called Livelihood. A refugee comes in, the only thing they had with them is the clothes they're putting on. Jeff knows this, he was covering most of these things. Now, I'll give you an example. The most vulnerable in society today are the widows. And if you want to have a very safety net, give it to a mama, give it to a widow. Now, what have I done? Outside the Constituency Development Fund, there is, Kitale or Trans-Nzoia being, the bread basket of Kenya, agriculture. Tumejaribu kusupport wale widows, na wakatia ngombe watatu ama watano wa maziwa. But we're going to upgrade, and that is through the Kaikai Bisau Foundation, because it's not part of the CDF. So we're even now moving to goat milk, to try and see how we'll support this. So that is livelihood. Giving the cook to fish, rather than giving the fish.
Redesign. Now,
there's another group that people really forget. Our young daughters, early marriages, or early pregnancies. Last year we recovered 63. Tumewapeleka shule, wamejifunza kusuka nywele, kutengeneza makucha, wale wa kupika pia, kukari. So then we support them to do that. I talked about football talent. When I started that team, and it was part of my campaign pledge, Kiminini combined Bazoo Boys. Iko hapo. So already I've talked about Sakwa, David Messi, ule tupeleka Bandari, kuna ule Bulimo, Amenda. So we try to support these groups, as in giving them the hook to fish rather than giving them
the fish.
So yes, I agree with you. Handouts are not sustainable.
No.
But unfortunately, I've discovered utaenda launch Daro. I mean, it's a cultural thing that is already embedded in society.
Terrible.
Yeah. So, but you come along. You have to try and feed. It's part of us. So you.
How often do you frequent your constituency, Kiminini?
Kiminini.
On a let's say on a monthly basis.
Like twice. Twice. And it's gonna be more because I should admit that I had to disengage a bit because I've been a doctorate student. I just finished my exam the other day. So
Doctorate.
Yeah.
Makofi kwake, makofi.
Nasi ceremonial.
Hapana.
Honorary.
Si kama ya nani.
Okay, usitaje.
Hii tumekuwa tukienda chuo, kuna wasee kuniuza classmate na kuambia mpaka maprof. Ile abidi boss.
So 2 times a month.
Yes, but now it will be frequent.
Okay.
Narudi kukamtani sasa.
When is graduation?
Graduation a year and a half from now, because now I've done classwork, I've done my final exams, so now I'm on my project. I'm on my thesis now.
Hapa Kitale, let's say give it 400 kilometers from
maximum in the Kwangapi.
Your design. Irori unatumia hii mara mbili.
Unajua huyo ni mimi na nimekuambia kwa nini wasiendake. Lakini kuna wasee kila weekend wanaendaka. Unasikia? Kila weekend utaenda huko ukae huko. And remember, then apart from that, within the constituency utazunguka. Na si utazunguka solo. Kuna wasee wako mnakuja nao. Kama ni ile timu yako. Wezi enda solo.
Una bogi.
Uko na bogi. Uko sambogi. Saa zingine pia unaweza pigwa riam. Unaweza pigwa ngeti.
Lakini ukifanya kazi yako, I don't think you need to move around sana kama mtu anafanya kazi yake. Hawa sasa wanakanjwa vizuri. So wakikuja kutililia hapa ati wako na shughuli mingi wana in the world. I think
the number 2.
They are number 2. Mnakanjwa fiti
hapo mtaani. Of course pia wase si wengi because sasa wanakuambia tumekuchora job. Employed you, we elected you. So there's a lot of, I mean, it's a very expensive enterprise being a member of parliament.
Do you miss the UN?
And remember the number of funerals.
Every weekend.
Not every weekend, every day.
Guy.
And you don't need to even be there present. You have to send your guy.
Tumakitu.
You have to lazima ununue coffee. And let me tell you.
Mkuje na fund yenye wana tap from that. Si lazima ati wewe utoe kwa pocket yako.
And you know, like he will tell you in Luyaland, the critical beat is ule jamaa alikuja kulia rasisi, alituma nini wakati wa bali. And by the utenda mpaka yule mtoi amezaliwa jana mpaka kwa mzee.
Na ununue ng'ombe ikuliwe kwa mazishi.
Boss.
It's more expensive.
By the way, last month alone, 5 bulls.
Umenunua?
Yes.
Za mazishi?
Na bulls za kwetu bosi ni 100 na
ngiriso.
So I mean the reality inguza. So hata wewe ukianza kunibana hivyo ama ni mlunje wa nai.
Wewe
unajua stories za Ocha.
Najua stories za Ocha. Lakini ni jitu tumekata kamna systems zenye ni sustainable za kusort out some of these messages.
No, nakubaliana. Kuna vitu when we're initiating a project now, that project we should ask ourselves, what value is it adding? Is it life saving? Is it a must that we? The focus now should be to complete the projects that are there before we. And there's some things we should freeze. An example, employment of the civil service. There's the natural attrition. You know, I don't want to retire. You know, we should try to bring down our wage bill.
Recurrent.
You know, recurrent bills. You know, the expenditures and stuff. You know, cut down on these things.
Yeah.
You know, and by the way, from my other background, when you have your budget and you find that more than 30% is going into administration, you're doing very bad.
You're in trouble.
It should never. 30% is the selling. Ikifika hapo, don't deploy, don't do anything else, and 70% should be, there should be a focus of 70% to go into development. And that's the UN model.
By the way, do you miss the UN?
That is the question that he avoided.
Yeah.
I miss the UN a lot, but as it says in life, you always have to move on. Because, you know, things were done more in a very straight way. When a person tells you something, it means what they say, and they say what they mean. But coming back home, you know, especially mixing with politicians, in most cases, you'll find very few who say what they mean and they mean what they say. But I miss the UN. Of course, it was high intensive in the sense that I was all over. Also, at some point, being the head of emergency, I was in the most trouble spots globally. But very good, because when you save lives, you really feel, or you evacuate people to a safer area. I mean, it's a job I really miss.